Welcome to Lesson 12C, Detailed Discussion of a Bow Shock. In this lesson, I'll give a detailed but qualitative discussion about bow shocks. In particular, I'll show where various locations along the bow shock map onto the theta-beta-M plot, and I'll introduce a new sonic line or sonic curve for a bow shock. We'll consider two-dimensional flow over a 2D wedge that eventually levels off like this, where the wedge angle, delta, is greater than theta max for a given upstream Mach number M1. Therefore, we'll have a bow shock that forms detached from the leading edge of this wedge. As mentioned previously, this point at the center line, which we'll call A, is locally a normal shock, so the shock angle beta is 90 degrees. I'll move along this bow shock and introduce points like B, C, D, E, and then map each of these on the theta-beta-M plot, where we'll show only one curve here, which is the curve for Mach number M1. M1 is obviously supersonic for there to be a bow shock, and beta goes from 0 to 90 degrees, where point A is the normal shock, as we showed here. Note also that theta equals 0 for a normal shock, and that's also seen here, where theta is 0. At this particular Mach number, there's also a theta max value at the top of this curve, which will be less than 90 degrees and depends on Mach number M1. This shock at A is a very strong shock, in fact the strongest possible at this Mach number, and M2 will be subsonic. Now let's move along this bow shock and label some more points. At some point B here, beta is less than 90 degrees, and there will be some turning angle where M2 turns upward as sketched, and this M2 will be greater than this M2. These are not the same, so I can put subscripts A and B there. On the theta-beta-M plot, point B will be somewhere here, where we also see that beta has decreased and theta is positive now. Going back here, theta is this turning angle from horizontal to M2B. As we keep moving on this curve, we'll get to some location, which I'll call C, which will be located at the theta equal theta max point along the theta-beta-M plot. M will increase as well, call that M2C, and this turning angle will be theta max. Beta here will be smaller than beta B, since we're moving to the left on this curve. Mach number 2 is still subsonic, but it keeps turning further upward. But we'll reach a point somewhere here close to C, where M2D is 1, or sonic. On the theta-beta-M plot, point D is just to the left of point C, where this turning angle theta has decreased a little bit from this point.
Sir, why aren't C and D at the same point on your plot?
Great question, BJ. It's because of the strange zone on our plot. Remember, we had a curve here of maximum theta, determined by the maximum theta of each Mach number. And at the particular Mach number that we're discussing here, theta is theta max at this point C. This theta equal theta max curve is the dividing line between strong and weak shocks. But there was also a sonic curve, defined as the curve where M2 equal 1 for all the various Mach numbers. And the strange zone was in between these two curves. That's why D does not occur at the same point as C. Going back to our bow shock, we can define a new sonic line or sonic curve where M2 equal 1 along this curve. Everything to the right of this curve has supersonic Mach number 2, and everything to the left has subsonic Mach number. And as you may recall, this sonic curve is the curve for which everything to the left has M2 greater than 1, and everything to the right has M2 less than 1. But these two curves, the sonic curve and the theta max curve, are not coincident. There's a gap which is the strange zone between them. That's why C and D are not at the same point. Continuing our discussion, somewhere further along the oblique shock is point E, which is now a weak oblique shock, whereas A, the normal shock, and B are strong shocks. The dividing line for that is the theta equal theta max curve. All points along this bow shock farther along than C are weak shocks. Everything from C and below is a strong shock. Going back to E, this point E along the bow shock can be mapped onto our plot as somewhere here. Notice that theta continues to decrease from C on, and that we can see here, since at E, Mach number 1 is always the same, since Mach number M1 is the same everywhere to the left of the bow shock, but theta decreases and M2E gets bigger than M2D or M2C, etc., because it's a weak shock. And since it's above this green line, it's also supersonic. But angle theta continues to decrease, as we see on this plot, theta decreasing from its maximum value at C. Well, we can continue this to some point F, where on our oblique shock, we're somewhere here. In that case, M2F is just a little smaller than M1, and the turning angle theta is very small. As a bit of a preview of coming attractions, we end up with an expansion fan at this sharp corner, where these expansion waves are the opposite of compression waves, and eventually the expansion fan starts to interact with the bow shock. I'll call that point G, and then beyond that it gets very complicated as this expansion fan interacts with the shock, weakening it further. On the theta-beta-M plot, point G is somewhere here, and eventually, after all this interaction here, we end up with a Mach wave, where the oblique shock angle beta is mu, and the turning angle theta goes to 0. On the theta-beta-M plot, point H is at this point, where beta equal mu, a Mach wave, where we recall from previous lessons that the minimum possible beta at this Mach number is mu, the Mach angle. I won't do a quantitative analysis of this flow, but hopefully you can see what happens along the bow shock from its beginning at the center line all the way up until it becomes a Mach wave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. 1, 2, 3. That's what